Grandmother was afraid that we might get the impression that syrups are brought in on exceptional cases, only for the sake of guests. It seemed to her that it would be much more decent if the guests saw the syrups on the table. Swan, despite the great age difference, was very friendly with his grandfather, one of his father's closest friends, a beautiful man. But with oddities, any trifle could sometimes stop his heart impulse, interrupt the course of his thoughts. Several times a year, grandfather told me at the table the same thing, how Svan the father, who did not leave his dying wife day or night, behaved when she died. Grandfather had not seen him for a long time, but then he hurried to the Svan estate, located near Combray, and he managed to lure his friend, who was shedding tears, from the room where death settled while she was being laid in a coffin. They walked through the park, dimly lit by the sun. Suddenly Svan, grabbing his grandfather by the hand, exclaimed, "Ah, my old friend. How nice to walk together on such a wonderful day. Don't you see what a beauty it is, trees, hawthorn, a pond that I dug and which you did not even pay attention to? You are a bile, that's what you are. Can you feel the pleasant breeze? Oh, whatever you say, there is still a lot of good in life, my dear MD." But then he remembered that his wife had died, and, obviously deciding not to delve into how he could rejoice at such a moment, he limited himself to the gesture that he resorted to whenever a difficult question arose before him. He ran his hand over his forehead, wiped his eyes and rubbed his pince-nez. He survived his wife by 2 years. All this time he was inconsolable and nevertheless confessed to his grandfather, "How strange. I think of my poor wife often, but I cannot think of her for long. Often, but not for long," like poor old Swan, became one of my grandfather's favorite expressions, which he used on a variety of occasions. I was inclined to think that old Swan was a monster, but grandfather, whom I considered the most just judge in the world and whose sentence was law for me, on the basis of which I subsequently forgave actions reprehensible in my eyes, objected to me, "What are you doing?" He had a heart of gold. For many years the son of the late Swan had often been to Combray, especially before his marriage, and my relatives did not know that he had broken with the circle of acquaintances of his family and that they, with the excellent innocence of the unsuspecting innkeepers who had admitted the famous robber, they give hospitality to a man whose name represented for us a kind of incognito. For Swan was one of the most elegant members of the Jockey Club, a close friend of the Earl of Paris and the Prince of Wales, a welcome guest of the Faubourg Saint-Germain. The ignorance in which we were about the brilliant secular life of Svan, of course, was partly due to his restraint and secrecy, but also to the fact that the inhabitants of that time drew a society for themselves on the Hindu model. It seemed to them that it was divided into closed castes, that each member of this society, from birth, occupies the same place in it as his parents occupied, and that from this place nothing, except rare cases of a dizzying career or unexpected marriage, is able to transfer you to a higher caste.